is the Savage Nation. We've covered an awful lot of ground today. I would think that we broke new ground in some ways by talking about the Holmes and Ray stress scale, which is a list of stressful life events that can contribute to illness. And they rank death of a spouse as number one, 2, divorce, 3, marital separation, 4, being in prison, 5, death of a close family member, personal injury next. Getting married is a stress, believe it or not. Getting fired is the next one. Now, here's an interesting, marital reconciliation is a stress, meaning getting back together is in the top 10. Retiring is a huge stress. Change in health of a family member, big stress. Pregnancy, huge stress. We forget what the women go through bearing a child. It's easy to forget that, particularly in our society, which is so anti-female, particularly anti-normal female. Sexual difficulties, gaining a new family member, meaning having a child or whatever, adopting. How about business downturns? How about a change in financial state? How about a foreclosure on your mortgage or a loan? How about a child leaving home? You know, people don't talk about that much, but when it's not this time of year that it happens, but children grow up and leave. Or usually it's when they leave to go to college that people, the empty nest syndrome, go try that one and see what it does to you. That's a 2 to 3 year job to get over that one. And that's the beauty of having a family. I got to tell you, I've been in talk radio for 15 years, since 1994. I came into it by accident. And people said I wouldn't last a day, but here I am 15 years later. And the fact of the matter is, I don't trust anybody in talk radio who doesn't have children. I don't listen to, I'm talking about people in talk radio who are talking about family values, school, education. I don't trust anybody who doesn't have children. They don't know what they're talking about. If they're single or they've never had children, they're full of you-know-what. They're full of republicanism. That's all I can tell you. But let's put that aside. One of the biggest stresses is a child who you've had in your house for 17, 18 years, from the time they were, the time they were a fetus, then an embryo, and then their birth in front of your eyes. Now, we're not talking about dying. We are talking about that human being just leaving you. And there you are with the room with the pennants and the baseball cards, for example. Or the girl leaves you, there it is, the little pink teddy bears are left in the room. Try that one for a year or two and tell me how that feels. We're not talking about throwaway families of the type created in Oakland, California, with turkey basters. We're talking about the traditional American family built upon the bedrock of civilization called the family, the heterosexual married man and woman. That's what we're talking about. There are no racial connotations in this. There are only familial connotations in what I just said to you. It is a very big stress, and it took me, in both cases, 2 to 3 years to adjust to that one. It was a terrible one. But for me, I'm leveling with you. The biggest stress to me was killing myself while raising 2 children, working 2 jobs, writing books, going to college, going to graduate school, being told one after the other by phony liberal professors that the PhD was a union card, that when you get that union card, you got a golden door waiting for you, and getting a great PhD with almost a 4.0 index out of UC Berkeley, with a great dissertation that was published as a book, and then being told by over 70 colleges that white males need not apply. And now you look at the universities and you understand why they are the way they are today. It's because men like me were locked out, and people like the type you see in the universities were locked in. And now you understand where I am at. I am not complaining to you, nor am I apologizing to you. I am telling you it was God's will. All of my life, I don't want to go into this long dirge right now, but if I look back on my life, they say don't look back. I try not to look back because it can make you you can get dizzy from it. I don't think I could relive what I lived through if I had known what I know now, some of the trials and tribulations I had to go through to get where I am today. I don't think I would have gone through those hoops or jumped through the fire. I don't think so. I think that 15 years ago, I probably would have retired or quit and said enough is enough and goodbye. But frankly, I wasn't able to, because I told you the story of what my son said to me. I had been shafted by a number of social engineers, and I basically couldn't take it anymore. And I said, you know what? I am 50 years old, and I've had enough. I've got enough to live on if I have to. I'll live a quiet life, however many years I have left. I'm not going to do this anymore. And I sat in in a little rental house somewhere, and I won't tell you where. And one day my son came home from school, and he saw me sitting in the back of this dark little room that I called a study. It was a study as much as it was a nursery for an infant with hardly a window in it, in a dark room. And he said, "What are you doing, Dad?" I said, "Well, I think I'm going to retire." And he was a kid. He says to me, I don't know, he was 15. He says to me, "You can't retire." He says, "Nobody retires at that age." He said, "Men retire at 65. You can't retire." I got up and chased him out of the house, asked him if I'm making the story up. I started screaming, "How dare you tell me what I can do? Who are you to tell me what I can do?" You know what? That's why I'm on the radio. Because if you're lucky enough to have children who are good children, they will both follow and lead the way. And that's why you put in everything you have when the plant is put in the ground. That is why you tend to the plant. That is why you give it the best of water, and that's why you protect it from the wind, and that's why you protect it from insects. It's because that plant bears fruit, and it comes back to sustain you later on in life. Just as the plant of the earth will give you the food, the child of the earth, the child of your earth, the child of your heart, the child of your soul will come back to sustain you. It's exactly what the Bible told you should be. It's exactly what the Bible promises you. It's exactly what the Bible offers you. It's exactly what should happen in a lucky break, in a lucky way the dice are thrown. And I wish good luck upon all of you with your children. There's no guarantee in the world we have today, because these values towards the parents in particular are not only not reinforced in the schools today, the opposite is taught to them. The crazy whack jobs in the educational establishment, the deviants in the psychiatric profession, actually tell your children that the parents are dysfunctional, whatever that means, meaning you're human. That makes you dysfunctional. It tells them to distrust you. It tells them that if you protect them too much, you're evil. It tells them that everything that you did for them was wrong because they were manipulative and trying to control you, not that they were trying to protect you. That would be like telling the little corn seedling that the farmer was controlling and overly protective because he didn't let the crow eat the seedling. But go tell that to one of your children who has been brainwashed by a liberal whack job psychiatrist or social worker or God knows what else in our society today, which is why I say to you, ladies and gentlemen, on the Savage Nation today, there is a reason to understand that we are now at a crossroads in society and in civilization. We are fighting not only for the survival of America, but for the survival of the family and for the survival of the individual. Barack Hussein Obama, to bring it down to the man, Barack Hussein Obama, frankly, is not very good on any of those counts. Barack Hussein Obama shows every evidence of going against everything I just mentioned to you. Where have you last seen him give a speech supporting the traditional family? Nowhere. Where have you last seen Barack Hussein Obama saying, "I am going to make certain that America's borders are secured"? Nowhere. Where have you seen Barack Hussein Obama tell you that he's going to support the language or the culture of this nation? Nowhere. We are in real trouble, ladies and gentlemen, and that is why I say go back to the Rock of Ages. Reinforce yourself, and if millions of us can reinforce ourselves, we can save the world.
Savage.